we both have professions. Well, I think once Tiffany and I got back on the move, it really didn't allow for us to spend as much time and put as much energy into our relationship. I don't think the love really dispersed. I just think it was just like we weren't feeding the relationship. And as you said, neither one of us is gonna stop. Like we both care about our crafts and what we do. And we care about love too and partnership, but I think, the energy that has been put into our careers and continuing to want to do the things that we do for ourselves and for the people, it's like, it was hard for me to balance all of that and keep the relationship.
Did Common just play Jennifer Hudson? Or is the internet chasing shadows again? The timeline thinks it knows because whispers say he's already got a new woman. And the shock value shot straight up the second Tiffany Haddish looked like she was enjoying the mess. That's the spark. One moment, Common is publicly praising Jennifer as the person, and the very next, rumor accounts start stitching together a storyline about side activity. There's no verified proof in the open, yet that has never stopped a trending topic from catching fire. Commenters read the tea leaves, grab an old clip, and build a narrative that feels too perfect to be accidental. And Tiffany's energy isn't exactly sympathetic. She isn't handing out tissues on a timeline that loves chaos. She's giving smirks and timing.
I'm enjoying it. I'm not gonna put nothing extra on it. If he wanna marry me, he can give me an apartment building.
Oh, okay. That would be, you don't want a ring, you want an apartment complex.
I'd give you a duplex, an eightplex or something. You know, people in the hospital be like, where your ring? I thought you was engaged. Where your ring? Where your carrots? Carrots. Girl, please, I got units. Knock it off.
For people who've watched her since the breakup, it tracks that she wouldn't rush to shield Jennifer from fallout tied to Common. Her earlier digs always felt like breadcrumbs, and now the internet is feasting on them like a buffet. That's what turns a rumor into a collective plot twist. The way everything Tiffany hinted at suddenly feels louder. But that isn't the entire story, because the tension really hits when you place Common's on-record praise next to the swirling allegations and listen to how badly they clash. On camera, Common sounded like a man who had found solid ground. He didn't just compliment Jennifer Hudson, he positioned her as the person he would marry if marriage is what he chooses.
Jen's still kicking it. That's part one. And part two is, do you ever see yourself married one day?
So as far as Jenny Jen.
I love Jenny.
Absolutely, we are together, and I just appreciate her as a partner, as a woman, as an artist, as a human being. She's a special individual, and I'm just grateful for it. I thank God, and yes, we are good. Marriage is something that if I were to get married, then Jennifer is the person.
Oh, she the prototype?
She is but she's not only the prototype, she is the person.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's one of those things where I'm like always looking at my life and saying, okay, because that's a strong choice to make, And,
absolutely. And not to be taken lightly.
And he did it with the kind of warmth that makes fans relax their shoulders and believe the story has finally changed.
Was that you have to understand you're not going to get anybody that's perfect because you're not perfect. So understand that there's some certain things that you will compromise in choosing that partner, but as long as the core values, the values that are most important to you, that person, marks off on that list, then you good.
She gave you some good advice there.
That's good wisdom.
That's some really good wisdom.
The clip traveled fast, not because it was scandalous, but because it was comforting. It invited people to think the cycle had ended and a new chapter had begun. Then, the street talk arrived and started to harden into a competing storyline. There were vague claims, fuzzy sightings, and hearsay posts that offered more heat than light. That's not evidence, but in the economy of attention, rumor often moves faster than receipts, and once a contradiction appears, sweet talk here, side chatter there, people stop parsing details and start choosing sides. The timing makes it worse. You can't speak about a person as the one and then ride a wave of new woman allegations without the crowd assuming the worst. If this were only about Common, the drama might fade. But Tiffany Haddish is a loudspeaker, and every time she appears near the conversation, the volume spikes again. Tiffany's reaction lands differently because of how invested she seemed when she and Common were together. She was the one who pushed the relationship into public view during the pandemic. The one who joked about a proposal that looked like equity, a building over a ring. The one who talked about birthdays as if they were checkpoints she hoped he would help turn into memories. Anyone paying attention could see she was all in. And anyone who's been all in knows how it feels when the energy isn't matched. What came next still divides people. When they split, Common framed it like a calendar problem. 2 careers, limited time, not enough space to feed the relationship. Tiffany pushed back with a metaphor that stung. Maybe he's a bee going flower to flower. She didn't throw direct accusations, but she didn't need to. The picture was clear. So when Common resurfaced with Jennifer Hudson and started talking about her as the person, Tiffany Side-Eye wrote its own caption. Now that a rumor cycle claims he has moved on to someone else again, Tiffany's not-so-subtle delight reads like vindication. Whether you think she's petty, honest, or both, her commentary keeps the story hot. And in a scandal built on contradictions, heat is everything. Jennifer Hudson is not another name in a gossip headline. She's a singular talent with a massive, protective fan base. And she carries a life story that made people fiercely loyal to her long before this rumor cycle erupted. When someone like that lets a new relationship in close, fans don't observe from a distance. They stand like a wall. That's why Common's past compliments mattered. When he called her the person, he set expectations. He pushed the narrative beyond a casual situation and into a space where people expected serious follow-through. So when chatter began suggesting he might be entertaining someone else, the reaction wasn't neutral. It never is with Jennifer, because the public watched her heal in real time, from losses and a public breakup that arrived with legal friction and heavy emotions. They respect the grace with which she kept going. And when they think she's being disrespected, they turn loud. Whether that is fair to Common is a separate question. What matters for the moment is that optics win the first round. And the optics here are awful. People don't like feeling sold on forever energy one day and then scrolling through rumor threads the next. It's a whiplash narrative, and Jennifer's fans are the kind of loyal who don't do whiplash quietly. Say Common's name, and the memory machine spits out a list. Erykah Badu, Taraji P. Henson, Serena Williams, Angela Rye. The internet compresses those relationships into a single trope. Poetic man, deep talks, bright beginnings, neat endings, on to the next. It's the kind of pattern that sticks even when the details don't. People love a pattern because it makes messy timelines feel predictable, and predictability is easy to share. To be fair, not every ending is betrayal. Sometimes lives diverge. Sometimes timing is a villain, and Common has tried to publicly walk a growth path. Therapy, reflection, and a better understanding of what partnership requires. He's spoken about advice attributed to Michelle Obama, the kind that frames real relationships as an exercise in choosing core values over perfection. Taken at face value, that's a mature, coherent message. That's also why the latest rumor cycle feels like a stress test he wasn't supposed to fail. Fans who believed in the growth arc feel misled when contradictions appear. And contradictions don't need proof to breed disappointment. They just need momentum. And right now, momentum is all rumor needs. Context isn't background noise. It is the whole soundtrack. Years ago, Jennifer Hudson suffered a family tragedy that would have shattered most people. She kept living. She kept working. She built a second act in public view. And even when her relationship with David Otunga ended with tension and filings, she handled herself with the kind of steadiness that made audiences respect her even more. That's why people ride for her. They don't just love the voice. They admire the person who refuses to fold. So when Common stands beside her and calls her the person, fans rehearse the vows in their heads and imagine the stability she deserves. They want the happy ending. The line made them believe it was finally within reach. Once rumor accounts started seducing the timeline with claims of a new woman, that imagined ending snapped like a twig. Her supporters moved from curiosity to defense instantly, because when a beloved public figure is involved, rumor doesn't just threaten a relationship, it threatens a sense of justice. If the energy is real, they want it protected. If it isn't, they want it exposed. In this climate, silence gets read as confirmation, and half answers come off like spin. That is the box both Common and Jennifer are stuck inside until someone offers clarity that actually means something. Here is the clean division without turning it into a list. On the confirmed side, there is public footage of Common speaking warmly about Jennifer Hudson and suggesting that if marriage is in his future, she is the person he would choose. There is also the undisputed fact that Common and Tiffany Haddish dated, that they broke up, and that both addressed the split from their own vantage points. He pointed to schedule and priorities, while she implied he doesn't truly settle, dropping that memorable bee to flower metaphor. In the present discourse, Tiffany is offered quips and expressions that the internet reads as shade toward Common, and at times toward Jennifer Hudson. Those are facts, in the sense that they are recorded and available for anyone to watch. On the claim side, there are rumors that Common has been seen with a new woman, while still tied to Jennifer. These claims are circulating without verifiable proof. The internet has also started framing this as a perfect replay of his supposed pattern with past partners, but that is an interpretation, not a document. It's built on memory, bias, and the viral appetite for repetition. The fuel here isn't evidence, it's familiarity. The story feels familiar, so people accept it faster than they should. That's the difference between what's confirmed and what's claimed. If you're tracking what happens next, the questions are straightforward, even if the answers aren't. Will Common respond directly to the cheating talk in a way that leaves no room for inference? Or will he let it pass and hope fatigue buries it? Will Jennifer post anything that reads like a reaction, or will she wrap herself in work and wait for the current to shift? Will Tiffany double down with another wink and send the timeline into another loop? At the moment, the audience is holding one truth and one temptation. They know what he said on record about Jennifer, and they're tempted to assume the worst because it aligns with a story they've told about him for years. Alignment like that is a powerful drug. It dulls the need for proof. These crises usually resolve in one of two ways, and the distinction is simple enough to say without turning it into a checklist. In the first version, the rumor burns out. Nothing concrete appears, and the people at the center keep the relationship steady enough that attention drifts elsewhere. Tiffany drops a few more jokes, the internet takes a few more laps, and then the cycle swaps targets. In that reality, Common's "I've grown" narrative survives more or less intact, and supporters feel justified for having given him the benefit of the doubt. The praise clip for Jennifer ages into a sweet moment rather than a setup for disappointment. In the second version, real proof lands with weight. Images with context, confirmations that don't hedge, or a direct statement that shifts the footing under everyone's assumptions. If that happens, the tone hardens. People will replay the "she's the person" clip like it's Exhibit A and audit every growth claim he's made in the last few years. Tiffany's smirk becomes the unofficial poster of the scandal, not because she caused anything, but because she read the wind loud enough for everyone to hear. In that branch of the timeline, Jennifer's base moves from defensive to done, and the story moves from rumor to record. For now, the only firm ground is what's already on the tape and what the main players choose to say next. Common set expectations by speaking softly and seriously about Jennifer. Jennifer built expectations by being someone the public trusts to protect her peace. Tiffany shifted expectations by refusing to act like any of this surprised her. Everything else is theater until something verifiable arrives. But it's amazing how much power theater can have when the audience comes in already knowing their lines. If nothing new appears, this was a loud storm with light rain. The kind of uproar that the internet remembers for a week and then files away as a near miss. If something solid drops, it's a flood, and the gap between sweet talk and street talk will become the whole story. Either way, the next beat depends on clarity, not vibes. Clarity in the form of receipts that actually prove something or statements that actually say something. Until then, what's real is the praise Common offered Jennifer Hudson on camera and the history everyone keeps referencing. What's rumored is everything else, no matter how neatly it fits the pattern people swear they see. And if you think Tiffany Haddish will miss a chance to narrate the next plot twist, you haven't been paying attention.